Hey friends, welcome back to Not Your College Life with Lisa Beals, episode number 43. I am your host, Lisa Beals. I am the Midwestern mom / college administrator who's gone through college myself and put a couple kids through school and realized that universities do not make it easy for us. I'm guilty. I work at the university. I see it every day. So I'm here to bridge that gap to allow you to coach your student from admission to graduation and allow you to just focus on the end goal of empty nester syndrome at the end. So let's jump right into this week's episode all about the portals. All the portals. You guys, when I started my research for this, I knew they were a handful. I knew they were like 3. But let me just tell you, it's crazy, isn't it? It's no wonder people are stressed out. People don't know where to go. What do you mean, what portal? I think I've been at Purdue, it'll be 11 years. I just learned last summer, after 9 years, that there is a separate, different portal for admissions. That's not my world. My world is registration and the academic record. But seriously, I've been there 9 years and didn't know there was a separate portal. So this episode is dedicated to all the portals. Okay, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I came up with 8. I came up with 8 that I know of at my institution. There may be more, there may be less where your kiddo's going to school, but this will just help kind of, if your student doesn't know the answer to where something's at, it could be that they haven't found or used the right portal. So it's just going to help inform them and you on additional questions to ask. So first, there's the admissions portal. This is the place where students are going to apply for acceptance. They want to apply for their seat at the university. It's where they will upload their essay or send their test scores, letters of recommendation. This portal is also where they will check the status of their application. Now, in theory, they'll also get an email or a lovely letter with a poster in the mail. But if they want to know the second that they were offered admission, that portal is where they're going to see it first. Because they'll see it there before that letter gets printed and generated and emailed or postmarked. That portal is where portal is where the gold is. So I would recommend that your student check into that portal. First, they want to know the deadline, right? Deadline to apply. I think early applications were due November 1, so gold star to you guys that got your kiddo to get it done by November 1, because that's where it's the most competitive, yes. But if your student applies by November 1, that's where most of the money is. A lot of scholarships, a lot of financial aid is targeted for those students that want it the most. Hopefully there's also some need-based, but a lot of it is geared towards early application deadline. So November 1 is typically at least one deadline. And then the other deadline to pay attention to is look on the university's website. When is the earliest date a decision might be released? Some institutions do a rolling application. So they'll throw out admission decisions sometimes in a week. A lot of times it's in December. I know at Purdue in my 10 years there, we used to be like a mid-December, then it went to early December, then it went to like the end of January. I was late. A lot of kids had already made decisions someplace else before Purdue even finally announced their decision. But there are high-level reasons and logic behind all of the deadlines that are not my area of expertise, so I'm not even going to get into that. But so deadline to apply, and when is the institution publishing when those decisions will be made. So that later one is the one that your student wants to put on the refrigerator somewhere so they pay attention. If your kiddo is a high school senior and they're looking for that decision to know who's going to let them come to college, put that date on the refrigerator and have that student check that portal. Generally, it's not the same everywhere, but there's a lot of reasons behind this. Many institutions will push that button and release decisions at 5 p.m. so that the recipients have time to marinate and actually dig into the information before they start calling and email the office. It's just what they do. So every evening, I would recommend find the deadline, and then starting on that deadline day at 5 p.m. or sometime that evening, have them check their student portal to see their admissions. Have them check their admission portal daily, every other day, to see if they've received a decision yet for an offer of admission. That admission portal is also where your student will change their admission term. So this year in particular, the COVID year, right? A lot of students, not a lot more than normal, let the university know, I'm going to take a gap year. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to request a change of admit term, either to the spring or the next fall. That's where you will change your decision to accept an offer of admission for a particular term. Similarly, that's the same place your student will say, you know what, I've changed my mind. I got an offer from my number one school, so I'm going to change my mind here. Once your student has accepted an offer, they are now an accepted student. They shift from applicant to accepted. And that plunks them over into the next portal. Portal number 2 is the student portal. Now they are officially a student. This is where the student can update their address, their phone number, emergency contact information. This is where they'll acknowledge their financial obligations to the university when they register. They'll register for classes. They can look at any holds that are preventing registration. That's another topic altogether. They will be able to look at their transcript to see if they've got any dual credit or AP credit loaded onto their transcript. They'll be able to view their plan of study. What are the requirements for their degree? Is any of my dual credit counting or any of my AP credit fulfilling any of those plan of study requirements? That's where they'll see that in the student portal. They'll be able to view the class offerings for the semester. They'll be able to see where and when and who about the classes that they're enrolled in. Many times, a link to their student email will be embedded in that, and a link to the learning management system will be embedded in that student portal. That student portal will also include important messages. If the student looks at them, they'll see the messages on there. Okay, so that is the student portal. A little nuance about the address information. At least with my institution, so I'm wagering Purdue is not atypical. When a student is in that window from accepted to the first day classes start, right? That could be upwards of 8 months. If they find out that their name or their address or their date of birth or their social security number, as originally reported, right? Because they could have fat-fingered something on the application. If they realize that they put something in wrong, Now's the time to correct that before classes start. Now, I know I said that they'll change all that stuff in the student portal. And if they're a continuing student, that is true. But for a new admit that has not yet attended their first class on that campus, many times they'll actually go back into the admission portal and make those changes. And then that information will push and flow into the student side. And where that is important, especially name, date of birth, social security number, is it's got to be a match with what the student has on their FAFSA. 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 It's terrible to say. I know that. But I stress the importance of your student's name, spelling, their full name and spelling must match what is reported on their free application for financial student aid. Their social security number must match. If they didn't provide a social security number on their application for university, it's going to be problematic for completing a FAFSA and getting all the connections. So that's where I would suggest go ahead and have them provide the SSN. If you're going to do the FAFSA, add the SSN. And then the date of birth needs to match as well. So where students might have been in a hurry or sleep deprived or distracted or just fat fingered something, they need to verify and correct as soon as possible so that the financial aid piece can find a match and connect your student. Then the other caveat on address. You guys, address in the student system is exhausting for me because we have local, permanent, mailing, billing, financial aid, parent, and we just added address while attending. Address while attending. That's 7 different addresses. Who knows what they all mean? Why do you need 7? In all reality, you need your address while you're attending, so I know where to physically find you if there's something wrong with you. And I need probably a permanent address. Because no one's going to send a bill in the mail. I'm going to email you the bill. It's going to be on your portal somewhere, a portal. So I need an address while attending and a permanent address because I want to know where mama and dad are, where you're going to go home to during breaks. I don't know why we have all the options. Who else hates all the options? Because our students don't know. They don't know the difference between a local and a mailing and a permanent. They don't know. And then there's dates on them, right? A start date and an end date. And then there's residence halls. Don't get me going. Okay, student portal, covered it. Moving on, payment portal. Now, many times, the payment portal is a link inside the student portal. In fact, most of the time, it would be. The payment portal is separate because there's all these other regulatory and compliance pieces that are required of the institution that are not required of the student. And vice versa, right? So the payment portal is where the bills happen, where the institution will generate a fee, they'll have the itemized bill, and the student will be able to access it and make payment on, or arrange a transfer, or verify that their financial aid got loaded. Make a payment plan. Generally, the student will be able to authorize a parent or guardian access to that payment portal so that they can do the same thing, right? They'll be able to actually take action, view the bill, make a payment, arrange a payment plan. The student can authorize a parent or guardian to do that in most cases. So the student or the guardian will want to check all of the fees. Are they all appropriate? What was the tuition? Was I charged resident or non-resident? That's important. Pay attention because mistakes happen. Did you get charged for your meal plan? Was your housing charged? What additional fees are on there? Do you have clinical fees, differential fees because you're in a specialized program, flight fees because you're in a flight program? Those hurt. Those hurt. Where's my friends out there that have had a kid in a flight program? That is some expensive stuff. Okay, so there's the payment portal. Then you have the parent portal or proxy, which is going to mimic the student portal, but it's view only. The parent proxy portal, they can't take any action on. And again, it's up to the student to authorize the parent or guardian access to view this stuff. So here's where it differs in high school. In high school, the high school gives you parents access into the portal. But what you see in that portal is assignments, grades for those assignments, maybe notes from the instructor, future assignments. You see all of that. In the parent portal at the university, you're not going to see that. You are going to see final grades if your student gives you access. You're going to see midterm grades if your student gives you access and an instructor reports it. You're going to see the classes they're enrolled in, where those classes meet, the times, the instructor. You are going to see their financial aid award if your student gives you access. You get where I'm going with this? There's a number of things that you'll be able to view in the parent portal if your student gives you access. So that's the key. It's if your student grants you access, and they can revoke it at any time. I can give you access today, and tonight I can revoke it. And you're not even notified in most cases. You don't even get a notification that I've revoked it. It just doesn't work anymore. So then you're questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? Why isn't it working? Something must be wrong with the system. Before you go calling the dean of students, you call your student to say, did you maybe change a setting in my parent portal? Just curious, because I thought we had an agreement here. I'm just saying, have a conversation with your student, okay? Here's another portal, the LMS, Learning Management System. Again, many times this is going to be embedded in the student portal, but the Learning Management System, most institutions have a university-wide learning management system, but that doesn't mean every professor will use that. I know on my institution, I know of probably 5 different learning management systems that various departments use across campus for delivering their content. Right? Think of Coursera or edX, one of those online course tools that are free, right? Surely, if you haven't seen them, Google them. But it's just a platform on the web where an instructor uploads their material. So slides, lecture videos, assignments. There's a grade book on there. It's not the final grade book, but it is a grade book. It's a place where students upload their assignments. It's a place for discussion boards on different topics that are expected to have engagement with the students. Quizzes, exams, etc. are on this learning management system. So there's the university one. Many times there are homegrown LMSs within academic units. There are textbook publishers that offer a learning management system if you're using their textbook. So it's all over the place. But that is yet another portal. Now, thankfully, if an institution's doing it right, this login is seamless. If it's embedded in the student's portal, it's a seamless login. You're already authenticated as a student. You don't have to log in again. Or it's the same login as your student portal. So if you're going straight there rather than through your student portal, then you can use the same login information. So there's that. Okay, moving on. financial aid portal. A lot of times, some institutions will have a separate financial aid portal that is different than the billing portal. And this is related to supporting documents that you need to upload. You can check the status of your FAFSA. You can check the status of scholarships, how they've distributed your monies to the bursar's office for payment. You'll be able to find out if you've been selected for verification. You could pose a question or submit information because you've had a change in family situation. Either a parent has lost their job, you have maybe lost a parent, they've divorced, or there's been a significant change in a parent's income. You can also appeal your financial aid eligibility through that. If your student is not making satisfactory academic progress, that means that they may not be eligible for financial aid, and so they would need to submit an appeal for that review, an exception. And there is a process for that. Each institution is going to have their own process, but typically involves the office's form, a statement from the student, and maybe supporting statement from their academic advisor that there is a plan in place to move that student back into proper academic standing so that they are making progress towards degree. Okay, then we have the housing portal. Housing portal is where the student will submit their application for new housing, for renewing housing, for a change in location. They'll update their meal plan perhaps there. They'll pay their bill there. They'll do roommate options there. So there's the housing portal. Then there's going to be mandatory training. And that sometimes could be on a separate portal, or it could be within the university's learning management system, that other portal we talked about. Mandatory training is a compliance piece that the feds typically put on institutions, and it requires institutions to cover things like alcohol awareness, sexual assault, conduct. If your student becomes an employee, there's additional training that they have to go through. And then this year there's some COVID training that it's expected of all students that are arriving to campus as well. So mandatory training, those if they're doing research, if they are perhaps in a program like education or nursing or psychology, they could be in a specialized program that has additional mandatory trainings required of them. That could live in that portal as well. And then the last portal that could be an option is the university's health portal. Whether your student's university has a clinic or not, this is the place where they are required to receive confirmation about immunizations. I guess it is just immunizations. So this year it's going to be, your standard childhood immunizations. You've got to upload your documentation to confirm that you have received all of your childhood vaccines or have documented your religious or moral objections to it. And then this year you've got the whole flu shot thing that's been escalated. Our international students have to demonstrate proof of insurance because that's a requirement of their student visa. They don't come here and expect to get health care from the system. They have to come, part of their student visa is they acknowledge they have funds to pay for the institution and they will have their own health care. So they're either bringing their own and showing that they have coverage available to them in the States, or they're purchasing a supplemental plan and they're showing evidence that they're purchasing a health care plan. So there you go. I said 8. There were actually 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I said 8. There are actually 9, theoretically, up to 9 different student portals for each institution. What do you think? Was that helpful? Was it a pain? Was it, ugh, that's why I can't find anything. Let me know. Send me a message. I'm at lisa@lisabeals.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, if this was helpful, please share it with a friend. Let them know I'm out there and my mission is to help. Go to iTunes and give this girl a review. 5 stars would be amazing, but I'll take less than 5 if you give me feedback. Giving me an iTunes rating helps inform the platform that I've got content out there that other people might be interested in. So if you're not into sharing stuff with your friends on the Instagram or Facebook, do me a favor and at least give me a review on iTunes so you can let iTunes share my information with others, okay? I'd really appreciate it. All right, you guys, until next week, I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.